"Let us hurry to the walls," said Abel Phidum to Buzi ben Levi. And Simeon the Pharisee, on the 10th day of the month of Thammuz, in the year of the world 3941. "Let us hasten to the ramparts adjoining the gates of Benjamin, which is in the city of David, and overlooking the camp of the uncircumcised. For it is the last hour of the fourth watch, being sunrise, and the idolaters in fulfillment of the promise of Pompey should be waiting us with the lambs for the sacrifices." Simeon, Abel Phidum, and Buzi ben Levi were the Gizbarim, or sub-collectors of the offering in the holy city of Jerusalem. "Verily," replied the Pharisee, "let us hasten, for this generosity in the heathen is unwanted, and fickle-mindedness has ever been an attribute of the worshippers of Baal. That they are fickle-minded and treacherous is as true as the Pentateuch," said Buzi ben Levi, "but that is the only toward the people of Adonai. When was it ever known that the Ammonites proved wanting to their own interests? Methinks it is no great stretch of generosity which allows us lambs for the altar of the Lord, receiving in lieu thereof 30 silver shekels per head. Thou forgettest, however, Ben Levi," replied Abel Phidum, "that the Roman Pompey, who is now impiously besieging the city of the Most High, has no assurity that we apply not the lambs thus purchased for the altar to the sustenance of the body rather than the spirit. Now, by the 5 quarters of my beard," shouted the Pharisee who belonged to the sect of the Dashers, that little knot of saints whose manner of dashing and lacerating the feet against the pavement was long a thorn, and a reproach to the less zealous devotees, a stumbling block to less gifted perambulators. "By the 5 corners of that beard which as a priest I am forbidden to shave, have we lived to see the day when a blaspheming and idolatrous upstart of Rome shall accuse us of appropriating to the appetites of the flesh the most holy and consecrated of elements? Have we lived to see the day when—" "Let us not question the motives of the Philistine," interrupted Abel Phidum, "for today we profit for the first time by his avarice or by his generosity, but rather let us hurry to the ramparts. Lest offering should be wanting for the altar whose fire the rains of heaven cannot extinguish, and whose pillars of smoke no tempest can turn aside." That part of the city to which our worthy Gizbarim now hastened, and which bore the name of its architect, King David, was esteemed the most strongly fortified district of Jerusalem, being situated upon the steep and lofty hill of Zion. Here a broad, deep circumvallatory trench, hewn from the solid rock, was defended by a wall of great strength erected upon its inner edge. This wall was adorned at regular interspaces by square towers of white marble, the lowest 60 and the highest 120 cubits in height. But in the vicinity of the gate of Benjamin, the wall rose by no means from the margin of the fosse. On the contrary, between the level of the ditch and the basement of the rampart sprang up a perpendicular cliff of 250 cubits, forming a part of the precipitous Mount Moriah, so that when Simeon and his associates arrived on the summit of the tower called Adoni Besek, the loftiest of all the turrets around about Jerusalem, and the usual place of the conference with the besieging army, they looked down upon the camp of the enemy from an eminence excelling by many feet of the pyramid of Cheops, and by several that of the temple of Belus. Verily, sighed the Pharisee, as he peered dizzily over the precipice. The uncircumcised are as the sands by the seashore, as the locusts in the wilderness. The valley of the king hath become the valley of Adamon. And yet, added Ben Levi, thou canst not point me out a Philistine, no, not one. From Aleph to Tau, from the wilderness to the battlements, who seemeth any bigger than the letter Jod. Lower away the basket with the shekels of silver. Here shouted a Roman soldier in a hoarse, rough voice, which appeared to issue from the regions of Pluto. Lower away the basket with the accursed coin which it has broken the jaw of a noble Roman to pronounce. Is it thus you evince your gratitude to our master Pompeius, who, in his condescension, has thought fit to listen to your idolatrous importunities? The god Phoebus, who is a true god, has been charioted for an hour, and were you not to be on the ramparts by sunrise? Oedipal, do you think that we, the conquerors of the world, have nothing better to do than standing waiting by the walls of every kennel to traffic with the dogs of the lower earth? Lower away, I say, and see that your trumpery be bright in color and just in weight. Elohim, ejaculated the Pharisee, as the discordant tones of the centurion rattled up the crags of the precipice and faded away against the temple. Elohim, who is the god Phoebus? Whom doth the blasphemer invoke? Thou, Buzi ben Levi, who art read in the laws of the Gentiles, and hast sojourned among them to dabble with it, the teraphim? And is it Nergal, of whom the idolater speaketh, or Achimah, or Nibhaz, or Tartak, or Adramelech, or Anamelech, or Succoth-Beneth, or Dagon, or Belial, or Baal-Perith, or Baal-Peor, or Beelzebub? Verily, it is neither, but beware how thou lettest the rope slip too rapidly through thy fingers, for should the wicker work chance to hang on the projection of yonder crag, there will be a woeful outpouring of the holy things of the sanctuary. By the assistance of some rudely constructed machinery, the heavily laden basket was now carefully lowered down among the multitude, and from the giddy pinnacle the Romans were seen gathering confusedly round it, but owing to the vast height and the prevalence of fog, no distinct view of their operations could be obtained. Half an hour had already elapsed. We shall be too late, sighed the Pharisee, as at the expiration of this period he looked over into the abyss. We shall be too late. We shall be turned out of office by the Cathalin. No more, responded Abel Fidum. No more shall we feast upon the fat of the land, nor longer shall our beards be odorous with frankincense, our loins girded up with fine linen from the temple. Raka, swore Ben Levi. Raka, do they mean to defraud us of the purchase of money? Or, holy Moses, are they weighing the shekels of the tabernacle? They have given the signal at last, cried the Pharisee. They have given the signal at last. Pull away, Abel Fidum, and thou, Buzi ben Levi. Pull away, for verily the Philistines have either still hold up the basket, or the Lord hath softened their hearts to place therein a beast of good weight. And the Gizbarim pulled away, with their burden swung heavily through the still increasing mist. Bu Shohi, as at the conclusion of an hour, some object of the extremity of the rope became indistinctly visible. Bu Shohi was the exclamation which burst from the lips of Ben Levi. Bu Shohi, for fame it is ram from the thickest of En Gedi, and as rugged as the valley of Jehoshaphat. It is a firstling of the flock, said Abel Fidum. I know him by the bleeding of his lips and the innocent folding of his limbs. His eyes are more beautiful than the jewels of the pectoral, and his flesh is like the honey of the Hebron. It is a fatted calf from the pastures of Bashan, said the Pharisee. The heathen hath dealt wonderfully with us. Let us raise up our voices in a psalm. Let us give thanks on the sham and on the psaltery, on the harp and on the hugab, on the cithern and on the sackbut. It was not until this basket arrived within a few feet of the Gizbarim that a low grunt betrayed to their perception a hog of no common size. Now El Amanu, slowly, with upturned eyes, ejaculated the trio, as letting go of their hold, the emancipated porker tumbled headlong among the Philistines. El Amanu, God be with us. It is the unutterable flesh